Frank Leboeuf and Jan Aage Fjortoft. Jan, I want to start with you. You were at the game. Great performance by Spurs. I imagine they were motivated by the crowd who seemed to be completely involved in this as well.
Absolutely. And it was a special day to be there because not only was the atmosphere great, it is a great modern stadium and the atmosphere was so loud there, but also for Harry Kane beating the one and only Jimmy Greaves' record, 267 goal, scoring his 200th Premier League goal. So, yeah, it was special. There is something wrong with Manchester City at the moment. There is something wrong. We will probably discuss that more, but in all respect to Tottenham, their counter-attacks, they took advantage of Manchester City losing the ball much more than we are used to. But that was also down to Tottenham, who had a great intensity in their pressure. So they made them make a mistake. And, well, yeah, Manchester City had a lot of possession, but I guess we could say that Tottenham deserved to win that. Manchester City, more or less, yeah, they had Mahrez had hit the bar like 1 minute before halftime. But that's more what they did. So I think that Tottenham need all the respect for this win. It can be said that was deserved.
We'll talk about City in a moment. Let's just focus on Spurs because obviously they won. Frank, we've seen a lot of Tottenham this season. We've seen a lot of Tottenham put in disappointing performances this campaign. This up there, without a doubt, one of their best. They seem hungrier, they seem motivated, they seem energised. You've got to think, well, where's this been?
Yeah, definitely, Dan. I think they were committed into the game. They knew what they had to do. I mean, it's kind of the perfect game for them or for Conte philosophy of football with Spurs, where you have to defend and maybe you counter-attack. So he knew the plan was there because he had no choice. He has only one choice, is to do that. And they did it perfectly. I enjoyed the game, the way the player thought through the game, how they counter-attack, as Jan said. The gift also that they got from Rodri to Spurs, but they managed to work hard.
The top goal scorer in the history of Tottenham Hotspur, only the third player behind Alan Shearer and Wayne Rooney to get 200 goals in the Premier League, doing it all at one club as well. A club that hasn't been particularly successful over the years, a club that we completely lost without him. He's up there as one of the best Premier League strikers, isn't he?
Well, of course. If not because of the numbers, because of the impact. Harry Kane is Tottenham. When you think of Spurs, you think Harry Kane, and he has come to define this era of Tottenham Spurs. And when you think of what he's able to do and how he has changed his game, you would have thought that he was just a goal scorer early on in his career, but he's a guy that now understands the nuance of playing the position, and when he has to drop into underneath positions, when he has to play with his back to goal, he does that. And today, in a game in which it's more about counterattack, he also is effective. What I thought was important from Spurs today is that while, yes, they were set up for the counter, there was a good recognition in moments in which they can go and step and pressure, which is not always the case with Spurs. But today, they were willing to go and pressure higher up the field when there was an opportunity to do so, and that's where the goal comes from. More times than not, we see Spurs against Manchester City. They're just sitting in their own half. In this case, yeah, sitting in their own half. But once they start seeing a moment, okay, we're forcing them into an area where we can press, then Højbjerg steps up, he wins the ball, finds Kane. And from that moment, this is what Kane has become. And it's not just today, it's just really for the course of his career. When he's in that position, you already know. There's a certainty that he's going to finish the chance. That's not always the case with strikers around the world. It is the case with Harry Kane. There's a certainty to his finishing. Once again, today he was perfect.
Is this kind of a catalyst for Spurs now? Does this change anything? All we know, they've got a brilliant record against City. City have never scored against them at the new stadium. They won the last 5 there, Spurs.
It can be, it should be. You can make the argument that it will be. But truth be told, City and the way they play, I think, suited Spurs. And you saw that at the Etihad a couple of weeks ago. Spurs were 2 up at half-time. And I think, in Antonio Conte's defense, who's come under some... I've been fairly critical of this season. I think he learns his lessons from that. In that, when you're playing against City, this version of Manchester City, you can stay high up the park. You can keep them under pressure. It makes absolutely no sense dropping in and sitting deep as you normally do, and inviting City to pass the ball around in front of back four, because with time they will eventually find a way. So as long as you continue playing against this version of City on the front foot, you give yourself a little bit of a chance. That being said, this version of City, and as good as this team can be, as much as Haaland brings it to this version of City, for me it just feels less worrying than it did 3 or 4 years ago. And as this game went on, and again you look at the goal, how they conceded the first goal, and in that first game, City again gifted Spurs the opening goal, getting themselves in trouble passing out to the back. But then their first goal, I think it was, came from Ederson passing out to the back, and at the time I said, that's clearly the hill that Guardiola wants to die on. Now, the thing I think that makes City and the way they pass the ball so dangerous is Ederson's passing range. Now, forgive me, I see things from a goalkeeping perspective. When you press City that high up the park and Ederson gets the ball to his feet, he, more than any goalkeeper I have seen in this game, can pick a pass.
Thank you very much for watching ESPN FC on YouTube. For more highlights, analysis and exclusive content, be sure to subscribe.